Welcome to Share Talk. Today I have the pleasure of speaking with Andrew Bell, who is the Executive Chairman of Red Rock Resources. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Just want to, first of all, touch upon today's news release in relation to your joint venture partnership with the Shoats Creek. Could you highlight what's happening there for us, please?
Well, we didn't actually see this announcement until it went out, but there's been a fair amount of disruption and disorder at Mayan, so I can understand that they're not properly organized just at the moment. The announcement, I think, reflected that, we hope for better times to come. I think an improvement in the operation of the Shoats Creek field is badly needed.
In relation to your project in Africa, or primarily in Kenya, could you give us an update on that license, please?
Yes, as you know, we have ongoing proceedings in the High Court there for judicial review, and those proceedings continue. In fact, there has been a development, so we may, in the course of the next update we issue, refer to that, but it's not of any startling import. And I think the real action there is the discussions we are having and will be having with the government on how to resolve this rather than see it caught up for years in the courts. I think it was important for us to take this action because it prevented anyone getting the idea they could just seize an asset where a resource had been defined and give it to somebody else.
Okay, so what is the forward sort of looking time scale around that?
Obviously, I have to be very careful about anything I say in public, both because this is the subject of legal proceedings and because there are delicate discussions in place. But we would hope for fairly quick action now, because we want anything that's resolved to be resolved well in advance of the Kenyan elections in the autumn. Because as we move towards those elections, everything gets rather political, and it becomes difficult to take decisions.
Okay. Would you like to give us an update as well on your Jupiter project, please?
As people know, there is a dividend declared by Jupiter. The form of it is actually going to be a partial share buyback, what's called in Australia an equal access buyback of 6% of the stock. We have accepted that, as we said we would, so that's $55 million to all the shareholders of Jupiter is being paid, was scheduled to be paid in the first week or so of March. It may be earlier. That is a possibility because we believe that Jupiter now has that money, that the South African parties have acted very quickly. That is encouraging. There's also obviously progress in what has been the stated intention of Jupiter to move towards either a sale of the Chipi mine or a relisting. But because there is no announcement out on that by Jupiter, I can't say more about it at the moment.
Okay. And what is the value of sort of Red Rock's distribution at that buyback price?
Well, I think that as is at 53 cents and we had 27 million shares, the value of that, of course, is about 40. It would value the whole holding at what's 27 times 53, about getting on for $15 million US, which of course is over 10 million pounds, 11 or 12 million pounds, compared with our market capitalization of 3 million pounds or a little over. However, we would say that the likely listing value or sale value of this interest in Jupiter would be more than the implied value of about $960 million for Jupiter's holding in Chipi. We would hope that it would be something much nearer 1.3, 1.5 billion dollars. So the interest of Red Rock in the underlying in Jupiter and the underlying GP assets could be anything up to about 15 million pounds, 20 million pounds.
Okay. Is there anything further you'd like to highlight in relation, obviously, to Red Rock Resources?
Well, I think that in a way we're kind of bound with Red Rock Resources. If the asset is really likely to be, one asset is likely to be worth as much as 20 million, and some liquidity event or greater liquidity event is in the offing there, and we have a value of about 3.5 million, it would be kind of irresponsible for us to go and issue a whole lot of shares to strike out towards some new horizon, because that would be so dilutive of the interests of existing shareholders, and not hypothetical or distant interests, but very near and realizable and high quality interests. Therefore, we need to continue to get our message across so that the share price rises, because really the share price of Red Rock should be well over 1p on any reasoning. And I think we've been very prudent. We haven't issued shares for a long time by way of any placing or something. It'll be getting on for a year soon, and that should be sending a signal to the market that we're really very serious, that we're not going to dilute. We want to see that rise in value begin to come through, and since we have the cash flow coming, there is no reason whatever why the share price shouldn't reflect that, because we're not going to have a necessity to go back to the market to raise cash. We can sit there and let the cash flow towards us.
Indeed, and obviously all your assets are looking like they're going to be doing that in the sort of short to mid-term.
Well, not all of them, but on the whole, the situation is much better. The commodity markets have improved, and that flows through some rivers. It flows back up very strongly, the tide flowing back in. In others, it's a little bit slower, but it's happening everywhere, yeah.
Right, Andrew, thank you very much for your time today, and I look forward to speaking to you again when there's any additional news flow.
Yeah, great to speak to you too. Thanks.
That's brilliant. Thank you for your time.
Bye.